There can be few more difficult jobs than that of the foreman on the shop floor. It is his or her responsibility to keep production going smoothly while dealing with demands from above and complaints from below. In these 3 videos, we would like to look at the way foremen operate in a Japanese factory, and we hope it will serve as a useful basis for thinking about the situations you have to handle in your job. We begin with some comments from actual foremen on the shop floor.
Well, in our daily work in the factory, we have to deal with all kinds of people, both men and women of all ages. Many of them are very young and not very experienced. And of course, it's not easy coming into a factory straight from school or college and having to deal with all kinds of new people and a different environment altogether. And also, it is often difficult for people coming in from the outside to adjust to the way we do things because each company operates differently. But the foreman has to deal with all these people carefully and keep the work going. That's the most difficult thing.
The workers in my team are all very busy and often have to work overtime. That means I have to deal with a variety of problems every day. But I think my most important task is to train everyone properly so that they can all work efficiently and also develop their potential.
Well, as you can see, most of my team members are young and need all kinds of training. Some of them will only do exactly what you tell them, and some won't even do that. But I do my best to help them understand exactly what they're doing and why their job is an important part of the whole production process. And that means often repeating things several times over and trying to remember that what may seem obvious or just plain common sense to the foreman is a real problem point for the worker. It's easy to forget that when one's been here for some time.
It's important to get everyone to realize that they're part of a team and that they have to think of the other members of the team. Many people just work for themselves and avoid getting the boss angry. I also have to explain things very carefully to make sure everyone understands exactly what I'm saying. Many workers find it difficult to work in cooperation with other people and also find it hard to change their working habits if that becomes necessary. There are lots of problems.
Well, those are a few comments from actual foremen. Would you have made similar comments? Perhaps you have other points to add. But whatever your personal situation, you would probably agree that the foreman's job involves dealing with many problems and pressures every day. We hope that these 3 videos will help to increase your self-confidence and will also show you some useful techniques for improving the general situation in your workplace. There are 3 basic characteristics of the ideal foreman which are worth considering. First, you should be good at your work. Second, you should be an effective leader who can develop the potential of everyone in your team. Third, you should be the kind of person who can really activate the workplace. Let's look at some ways in which these ideals can be achieved. First of all, what do we mean when we say that a foreman is good at his or her job? General production management and personnel control and the solving of problems are the 2 primary roles of every foreman. Being able to do the work efficiently means that you can deal effectively with all the various problems of shop floor management. An essential part of this is the ability to get the cooperation of others whenever you need it. In Volume 1, we will look at both the solving of problems and ways to secure cooperation. So, how should the foreman set about dealing with the problems that crop up every day on the shop floor? There are three main areas we should look at. 1. Detecting and reporting problems. 2. Tackling problems as a team. And 3. Getting the cooperation of everyone in the team. As we think about these 3 points and the role of the foreman generally, we will take a look at the different ways two Japanese foremen, Mr. Abe and Mr. Sato, go about their work.
Excuse me?
We're
having trouble getting faulty parts from up the line. Please do something.
What's wrong?
You see, it's the bad parts. I have to waste time sorting them out. It's the overtime.
Again? What? What can I do?
Hey, what are you doing? You should have the safety cover on.
I can't do that. We keep getting rejects. And every time I have to stop the machine. With the cover on, I can't work. It's not safety I'm worried about. It's the deadline. The deadline.
You're a bit strange today. What's wrong? Something happened?
There are 4 basic ways of dealing with problems. 1. Anticipating. 2. Sensing. 3. Responding. And 4. Intervening. Let's explain them. First, anticipating the problem. The vital thing for the foreman is to focus on potential problem points before any actual problems occur. One example of this is the need to move staff around as automation spreads through a factory. If the foreman listens to his staff's requests in advance, transfers can be carried out smoothly. Second, sensing the problem. This is all to do with the foreman's experience and use of his sixth sense. Watch out for team members who look ill or in need of a rest. Learn to sense when something is wrong. Third, responding to the problem. This means taking action when a problem is brought to you. Remember, this is an appeal to you as the shop floor leader. Fourth, intervening in the problem situation. There are times when, for some reason, such as safety, you must step in immediately without being asked and sort things out. And especially important is the ability to help your team when they have personal problems, before sparks of discontent are fanned into flame.
I see. Too much work, too much overtime, and she's not happy.
It's not going well at all. It means we can't meet much. At weekends. The problem is, I want to see her, but she doesn't understand.
That's tough. But don't worry about it. You're doing your work very well, no problem. Let's try and cut the overtime. I'm sure I can do something. All right? Probably I can change the schedules. I'll do what I can for you. But remember to keep the safety cover on.
Okay.
Come on. Nobody wants you to hurt yourself. You've got to keep in good shape for your next date. Feel better now?
In this kind of situation, the person with the problem must be made to feel that he or she is an important member of the team and that the foreman cares. That means that you have to cultivate the skills to deal with problems of all sorts calmly, effectively, and as quickly as possible. At the first sign that someone needs your help, take action at once. the more urgent the request, the more you mean to that person. Detecting and reporting problems 1. Improve your ability to anticipate and sense problems. Deal with problems at once.
And that's the situation.
Any particular problems?
Yesterday, I did have some trouble with Miss Ono. She was in tears.
In tears? Why?
Well, there does seem to be some problem with her boyfriend. Unfortunately, we've been getting bad parts from up the line, and she's had to do a lot of overtime. I've listened to her problems, and, well, she said she can't meet her boyfriend much. I've been keeping tabs on her, but my policy is not to get involved in personal problems. Perhaps I shouldn't even be telling you this.
I'll have to do something about him. He's got problems of his own.
That's the situation. But actually, we've had some trouble with bad parts sent in to us from the main parts supplier. And in my team, Hara, who's a very good worker, has been forced to waste lots of time checking things. Our production deadline's getting close, so I wonder if you could please tell the supplier to check the quality before delivery.
I will, of course.
The main point about reporting problems is always to sort out the contents carefully in your own mind. Clarify what the actual problem is. That's what your boss wants to know, so that he can grasp the situation clearly. It's also important that you report at the right time. Bigger problems can sometimes develop later if small problems are not reported when they occur. So, what problems should be reported? Basically speaking, anything which looks at all dangerous. The foreman's job is not just to explain the situation. You should also suggest whatever action you think is appropriate. Your boss wants to see that you are genuinely concerned with all the members of your team and also with safety on the shop floor. And with a proper report in front of him, he can then make his own judgment about the situation. Detecting and reporting problems 2. Sort out the contents carefully. Report at the right time. Suggest appropriate action.
Excuse me, Mr. Abe.
Yes?
We got a problem. I had to stop the machine, but I don't know what's wrong.
Let me see. It's scratched here. Just check the point, then adjust it.
Are you sure that's all?
Yes. Can't you see the scratch? Fuji, you're not a new recruit. You should know what to do about this. You don't have to come running to me with little problems. You're in charge of that machine. So get on with it.
Well, if you say so.
The boss is always saying you must delegate to let others develop. I think I must be the only foreman round here who does it so well. What's this, Fuji? Still at it?
Hey, I'm sorry, but it seems to be different from what you said. I've tried lots of different things, but there's no change.
What? All these are defective?
Sorry.
Now, what's gone wrong here? Well, it is basically true that delegation can be an effective way to encourage all members of the team to develop a positive attitude towards their work. But for a foreman to leave things up to others is not the same thing as total non-intervention, which can easily give the impression that the foreman doesn't care. When a superintendent delegates to a foreman, he is giving him or her authority which he knows the foreman is experienced enough to handle. But for the foreman to delegate to his operators is a different thing altogether. The foreman needs to be more involved and supportive. In order to make the shop floor operate smoothly, the foreman must clarify problem points and give suitable advice. A great deal of training and experience is required before everything can be left up to an operator. In this example, Abe was simply being lazy. He ignored the basic rule about immediately checking the source of the problem at the workplace. He also gave the appearance that he didn't care at all, although he was patting himself on the back for delegating so well. It isn't difficult to avoid this sort of problem. The foreman should simply go to the workplace, look at the problem situation, and then give reasonable advice. This will make everyone feel more secure, and it will also encourage cooperation. Solving problems through cooperation 1. Training before delegation. Follow-up. The foreman should take the lead in problem solving.
Well, that's okay.
Okay.
But I think, you might...
Excuse me.
Oh, hello.
Sorry to disturb you, but I'm getting a lot of rejects. I stopped the machine and checked, but I don't know what's wrong.
Right. I'll take a look. Excuse me for a moment. I'd better go.
Of course. Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, let's go.
Yes.
I thought it was you.
I don't know. Hara, go and fetch Mr. Endo from the technical department.
Okay.
In cases like this, if you can't deal with the problem yourself, it's vital to call in the appropriate person to have a look.
Oh, thanks for your help the other day.
Oh, you're welcome.
Everything's fine now, thanks to you.
Oh, ask me anytime.
Thanks, Mr. Endo.
Bye.
Bye.
This may seem an obvious point, but it's often forgotten. You must always remember to thank all those who help you, whether they're members of your own staff, people from other departments, or someone from outside the company. It's also a good idea to keep them informed of any further developments. The important point here is that good relationships must be kept up. This will ensure cooperation at all times. Let's now have a look at some points about group discussions or brainstorming sessions, which are very popular these days. First, gather together primarily those people who are most closely involved with the particular problem under discussion. Second, don't just sit around a table. Go to the workplace and have a look at the actual situation. Third, remember that it's difficult to find a perfect solution right away. Look for a realistic, better way rather than struggle to find the best way. It is much better to work enthusiastically on step-by-step improvements. One more point. The foreman plays a vital role in evaluating all merits and demerits of possible solutions. A lack of judgment could send you off in completely the wrong direction. Solving problems through cooperation 2. If you can't find a solution, ask for the cooperation of appropriate staff. Maintain good personal relationships. Points for group discussions. Gather closely involved people. Check the workplace. Better before best.
As you know, the problem is that we're trying to cut all our production costs by 20%. And I want you to carry out checks to see how we might do this in the number 3 production department. So, see what you can come up with. And let me have all the data by the end of next week, okay? I'm counting on you. Do your best.
Right.
Now I think if we do it like this, we should be able to cut costs by 20%.
Yeah, okay, but we're going to have to change our whole way of working. And don't you think we'll be less efficient than we are now? Everyone will complain.
We've had a lot of complaints. It's very difficult. We can't ignore their opinions. What shall we do?
What do you want me to do? Thinking about that is your job. What use is a foreman who can't make his workers understand?
We can't do it. For 5 years we've worked like this. We can't just change overnight.
Come on, Arby.
Well, that's the situation. What do you think?
May not be possible. I don't know. I'm sorry to say this, but I don't think they'll like this idea very much.
I see. Could you gather the team together?
Yes, okay.
Now, I understand how you feel. But anyway, I'd like you to do your best. To change. And go for the 20%. I'm sure it'll be more efficient once you get used to it. But it may be tough for the first week or two. But if we all pitch in and work together, I'm sure we can reach... That's how it is. We've been experimenting with the new way. But actually, productivity is going down. I'm sure we'll recover once they're used to it. Could you please give us a bit more time, please?
That's the way, Sato.
So what should the foreman do when faced with some company requirement which seems to be beyond the ability of those at the workplace? How can you suddenly change the work habits of your team? Behind every demand from above, there is a purpose, and you must be aware of what that purpose is. The survival of the company may depend on everyone understanding this purpose. The immediate demand from your boss may be the end result of external forces making impossible demands on your company as a whole. The outside world is tough, but that's the challenge we all have to face. Variations in market demand and changes in the general economic situation, which affect your company and its management, are usually the reasons behind sudden changes in company policy. You will probably find it useful to know something about such business trends, such as movements in exchange rates. Another point is to try and foresee your company's reactions to such things. After all, it is the shop floor workers who are the ones most affected by sudden policy changes. And it is up to the foreman to think of good ways to maintain their cooperation. If you don't, you'll never meet the production requirements. However, it is important that you grasp the situation yourself, report your predictions to your team, and be prepared to help them in any way you can. Most important is to make sure that everyone really understands what's going on. You have to listen to what they want to say. In other words, come down to their level and work out solutions with them. You can't have too much cooperation. Of course, it is sometimes necessary to give orders, but you may not get a very friendly reaction to them. The foreman has a tough job, and you can't do everything at the same time. But to be a leader, you somehow have to balance your technical know-how and your ability to deal with other people. Remember two other points. First, people have the capacity to go on improving given the chance. The foreman has to try and find ways to develop everyone's potential as people and technology change. You'll probably find that your workers are very willing to improve themselves in whatever way they can, if you only make the effort to give them encouragement to do just that. And make it clear that you are genuinely interested in helping them. Second, there is one thing that doesn't change, and that is human nature. Most people will worry about things they don't understand, and will go against any attempts to control them by complaining or not doing their work very efficiently. But on the other hand, most people also have a genuine desire to improve themselves, to be acknowledged, and also to take an active part in their surroundings. And that is exactly what they should be encouraged to do. But we cannot expect too much. You may find you get full cooperation sometimes, but not at others. Don't be discouraged. As the foreman, all you can do is continue to encourage, to explain, and also do your best to help your team fully understand the situation. There is nothing more effective than setting a good example by showing your own enthusiasm. And that means being convinced of what you are doing and, of course, having your own opinions. The only effective leader is the one who has everyone's respect. And that is just the kind of foreman you should aim at being. Getting the cooperation of the team. Aim high. Take impossible demands as a challenge. Try to understand the reasons behind policy changes. Remember, it is the shop floor workers who achieve the results. Explain the situation and give encouragement. Maintain a balance of technical knowledge and the ability to deal with others, remembering that people have a capacity to improve. Human nature doesn't change. What we've tried to show in this volume is that the foreman is a vital person in the solving of problems that occur on the shop floor. This can only be done with the cooperation of the team, the boss, and staff from other departments. In the end, the only way to get the company as a whole moving is to mobilize the team of workers on the shop floor. And that depends more than anything else on the development and maintenance of good personal relationships. As we have tried to show, that involves many things: good manners, personal contact, real discussion, proper reporting, and of course, action. We've given you a glimpse of how some people deal with these things. But how do you mobilize your team?